Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Some background. I'm an American, born and raised, but my boyfriend, who I will always refer to as a Sarge in my posts, is from Russia. We also have a dog who used to be Sarge's dog while he served in the Russian military, but is now my service dog as we live together. His name is Comrade. Sarge didn't know what to name him when he got him, so he just called him Comrade, as in fellow/companion, and the name just stuck. And he's a beautiful brown auburn black Australian Mountain dog. This happened like 2 or so years after Sarge moved to the US and got his citizenship. And this time I had a few jobs. I tutored kids in musical instruments, strings and percussion, was a writer, and mostly for the hell of it, was a manager at a local McDonald's. Why? Easy money. I just had to supervise and make sure everyone was keeping clean basically. I dealt with a spoiled parent every now and then, complaining about there isn't enough cheese, or my kid wants this toy in their meal, and stuff like that. But it wasn't very hard. Whenever I went anywhere outside the house, Comrade was with me. I have him for PTSD, paranoia, and anxiety. I also have FAS, foreign accent syndrome, which is related to the accident that caused the PTSD and paranoia, but that's not why I have Comrade, although it is important to keep in mind for later. Although he was originally a military dog, Sarge trained him to be a service dog for me, and we got him certified, and he has a vest that says in giant letters, "Do not touch and everything." During this time, Sarge was working as a dog trainer and a falconer, which is why he was so good with dogs. Anyway, when I was at Mickey D's, Comrade always did a really nice job of sitting in a corner and behaving. The entire staff knew him and how much of a sweetheart he is despite his huge and menacing look/size. And since I was comfortable with it, they were allowed to feed him a few fries every now and then, and also give belly rubs. They knew this. Usually, whenever I was on break, Sarge would be between jobs and meet up with me so we could relax, have a little food and so on. This particular time he happened to bring an owl. Her name is Emma. She's a barn owl who is actually not nocturnal. He brought her into the place and of course everyone was chill. Business was slow since during the time of day kids were at school and parents at work, and by slow I mean it was completely empty except for the staff. The break was going as per usual until Emma began to get a little antsy on Sarge's arm. You know, because he was wearing one of those falcon gloves. He had to take her out for a bit and I was left with Comrade, who was sitting up next to me in a booth, looking like Chewbacca or something. I had my journal out and was scribbling something in it. I usually always have my journal on me to write down random thoughts and pictures as a form of therapy. There are pretty poetic things in it, as well as some pretty gruesome excerpts and images. I was drawing one of those graphic pictures. A few minutes later, a mother, the entitled mother of the story, and her son, who was about 6 or 8, stroll in. They are now the only customers. Cool. The entitled brat notices Comrade right away, because from the other side of the establishment, I hear an excited gasp. I peek up and my thoughts are confirmed. The entitled brat looks ecstatic. The entitled mother smiles too and ushers him to the counter so they can order. I smile too as I look back to my journal. I love kids, and even more than that, I love making them happy. Unsurprisingly, about a minute later when they finished ordering and paid, the boy was standing in front of the booth with wide eyes. Keep in mind that I'm sitting next to the wall and Comrade is sitting on the other side of me. He is fanboying next to the table and I chuckle. He still hadn't said anything. The entitled mother walked over and the entitled brat squealed, "I want to be that dog." I'm still smiling at this point because kids get me in my soft spot. In the beginning, the mom was chill. "Sorry, sweetie, that's a service dog. Can't touch." And the chill pouts. Me, in a Russian accent, "Actually, you can pet him if you like. Remember when I mentioned that I have FAS? Yep, right now I have a Russian accent. I add, he's quite friendly, mate. His name is Comrade. I probably look like the most Russian on the face of Russia, with an accent and a strong dog named Comrade. The entitled brat squeals again and pets the great dog gently by his scruff. The entitled mother seems impressed and goes to pet him too. See, I let him have a pet because although he's technically working, 1. I hate disappointing people in general and especially kids. 2. I suck at confrontation. And 3. He's pretty good about not getting distracted anyway, so I figure all is well. And all is going well. Until the entitled brat says, "Mom, look how cool, he's so cool. I want him." I chuckle and half expect the mom to as well, but instead, "Well, you know how we get things, don't you? By asking nicely." Then he turns to me. "Can I buy your doggy, please?" Now I was pretty taken aback, so I assumed this was a joke, although the entitled mother wasn't laughing. "Sorry boy, he's not for sale. I need him to get by day to day." I said this with a chuckle and a smile since I thought it was a joke after all. The entitled brat looked confused and the entitled mother looks like I was the one joking. She says, "Oh, come on now. It's not like you need him or anything. I mean, obviously, if he was that important, you wouldn't let us pet him. Not so much of a working dog then, huh?" Then she points to his vest. I am now anxious. Comrade, sensing this, shuffles closer to me, which prompts the entitled brat to cling to his service vest, not wanting him to move away. "Hey, let go!" I yell. The entitled brat lets go of the vest reluctantly, pouting. "But I asked nicely." "Sorry, but…" "Seriously?" says the entitled mother. She now looks appalled like I admitted to murder or something. She puts her hands on her hips. "Did you just yank my son away? I'll have you know that my kid is at the top of his class and has been wanting a dog for a while now. It's about time he gets a dog, and my boy wants this one." Again, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but he's my companion. My boyfriend happens to train dogs if you like, but I can give… The entitled mother clicks tongue, looks down at the entitled brat, and says, "And this is why we don't like the Russians, baby, because they are selfish and arrogant." Then she looks to me and says, "You're really going to deny my baby that much? You should be ashamed of yourself. Wait a minute, aren't your people supposed to share anyways?" Then she scoffs, "Selfish." I say, "Your boy is so smart and yet doesn't understand what a service dog is. I can see he takes after his mother." And boy, the entitled mother looked like she could have slapped me. Now I'm angry instead of shy, and all these snappy comebacks come flooding in. Her face turns red and says, "Excuse you? What gives you the right, you R-word immigrant?" Now I could slap her. "Ah, all you Russians are the same, poor, petty, greedy, and horrible mean people." By now my accent had diminished, but I feel like I should keep talking Russian. Why? Because a thing I learned after a few years of having FAS is that people are less likely to screw with you if you're Russian, or even sound Russian. Everyone's just scared straight of Russians. That seemed to go over the head of this woman, but another reason I decided to keep it up was because she'd probably make a bigger scene if I randomly dropped the accent I had. I say, "And you expect me to hand over my comrade when you call me a terrorist?" I knew then that I was screwed. I had started off forcing a Russian accent as planned, but it accidentally turned into a French one. The entitled mother points finger over my dog at my face. "Aha! You lying little witch! You want to deny my son a dog that you selfishly do not need while lying to my face about it." Me in a kinda bad Russian accent, "You crazy mashugana." At this time, Sarge had walked back in with Emma on arm, confused and oblivious as to what was going on. All he heard was me call the psycho Mashugna and saw how red her face was. All the while, Comrade was extremely on edge. He briskly walks over. Now I need to pause for a minute. When I titled this post Scary Russian, that was kinda the equivalent of written clickbait. In actuality, Sarge is a teddy bear, like an actual lump of sugar, He's very patient and charming to talk to, but lots of people are intimidated by his big build and thickish Russian accent. But be warned, he becomes very cold when he gets angry, even though that's not often because again, lots of patience. Although even though he wouldn't hurt a fly, people do not know that, and he is also pretty defensive when it comes to me. Now back to the story. Sarge steps between Comrade and I and the entitled you. "Maybe I help you, madam." The entitled mother eye rolls and says, "Ah, another fake Russian, I suppose. It was a hug this time." The entitled brat looks at the owl and is captivated as a mother is repulsed, probably thinking, what a savage. Sarge, surprised at her rudeness, says, "No ma'am, I live near Sochi. Can I ask you why are you harassing my girlfriend?" The entitled mother grabs her kid by the shoulder and says, "She's claiming that Mott to be a service dog instead of giving it to my son. Since you're apparently a Russian, tell me, aren't your people supposed to share?" Sarge says, "First of all, I don't like you to refer to my comrade as a mutt. Second, what do you mean by your people? You see me here in America, yeah? I'm a capitalist like you. Third, I do not appreciate your attitude, going around demanding service dogs from unsuspecting people. And fourth, you should really take a look at yourself. Is this the example you want to set for your boy?" The entitled mother's jaw hits the floor. Stunned silence. "Did you just tell me how to parent my son?" Sarge pinches a bridge on his nose as I, defeated, just took my journal out and continued to draw my graphic picture. The entitled mother begins bringing up the "my people" thing again, saying you have two beautiful pets and you can't share either of them because you're so selfish. And all Sarge can respond with is, "If you're obsessed with my people so much, then why don't you move to Russia?" I wish. That would be a good riddance right there. Sarge is trying to reason with a mad woman, and at this point I just exit the conversation. I sit cross-legged in the booth, stroking Comrade therapeutically with one hand, working on my image with my other, with one singular hand. I point this out for a reason. I point this out because a minute after I zoned out, apparently what had happened is a little crab crawled behind Sarge's legs without him noticing under the booth and snatched my journal from my lab. "What is this?" I yell. The entitled brat scurried back out from the table and ran to hide behind his mom. I've already lost it, and Sarge is on his way. Before Sarge can grab the notebook back from the kid, he takes one look down and starts wailing. It is time to reveal what I was drawing. It was a picture of a Grim Reaper / zombie type situation eating the organs of a dead woman, most of the limbs severed. The entitled mother rips the book from her kid's hand and gets the same look of absolute horror, shoving the page in the direction of Sarge and I. "What the hell kind of freak are you? This is nothing that should be advertised to the public," I say. "That's because it's private property, you witch." Now we are officially in a screaming match which causes Comrade to squirm in place and whimper. "That dog isn't even happy with you," she says. The entitled brat cries, screams, and makes grabby hand motions to Emma, the owl perched on Sarge's arm. "I want that bird." He got too close to Emma, which made Sarge pull back, saying, "Absolutely not. That owl is not the tamest. It could have seriously scratched the heck out of that kid." The entitled brat continues to scream. No crap, the entitled mother now chucks my journal, hardcover by the way, at the window right next to my head. This, my friend, is when all hell breaks loose. The window cracks, which thank God it didn't break because the glass definitely would have caught me sitting right there. And the sound of the impact freaks Emma out, and she screeches, flapping her wings about and taking off around the McDonald's. Sarge is thrown into a panic. If the bird got lost or injured, it'll be his own doing. "Oh heck," he says. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but the staff had already called the police, and now that Emma was loose, they, thinking quickly, locked all the doors. This would make sure the mother from hell and her demonic hell spawn wouldn't get out, nor would Emma. I'm still flipping at everything that's going on. and then the mother runs to the counter where her now cold food was and begins a tantrum of her own, throwing food everywhere. She squirts ketchup on the walls, throws fries at the staff and at Sarge, and all the while she's doing this, and I've been trying to calm Comrade down who was getting worried, the entitled brat lunges at Comrade, yanking furiously at his collar. Bad idea. I try to warn him, tell him off, but too late. Comrade has gone into attack mode. He turns around and pounces at the boy, his weight throwing the entitled brat to the ground, having him falling flat on his back. Does he bite him? No. Does he claw at him? No. Comrade is trained to scare an attacker, but not actually attack until I or Sarge give the command. So there they are on the floor. My dog with his front paws flat on the floor, but in the air, teeth sparing, growling and snarling. Although the brat more than pissed me off, I felt bad for him. I was just about to tell Comrade off, but then the entitled mother came up behind her shaking son to slap his snout. Yes, that happened. This witch hit my service dog. I was so shocked and infuriated that I couldn't get words out. "Muzzle your dog, freak!" she yells. Then I feel something very, very cold being poured all over me. It's a melted fudge sundae. At this point I was in such shock, I didn't even have any thoughts. I only gasped. I barely reacted while Comrade was still in defense mode. When Sarge looked over, he finally lost patience. And this is where the scary Russian boyfriend part comes in. With a scowl, he marches up to the entitled brat, picks him up effortlessly by his underarms. He was not being rough or malicious, and he sticks him in a high chair made for toddlers, meaning it's much too small and the entitled brat is now stuck sitting in one place. The entitled mother is freaking out more than she ever did and begins to hit Sarge, beating his head. Pretty pathetically, might I add. This is no sweat to Sarge. He moves slowly, letting her, hits him a couple of more times, and then grabs each of her wrists. He pulls a move, and basically now she has her arms pinned behind her back and she's still screaming. "Let go of me! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go, you jerk!" Sarge, with an extremely heavy Russian accent, "No, I have lost all respect for you to unhand you when you're the one acting like an animal." Then he shoves her into a seat. While she's sitting and Sarge is standing over, she gets quiet. The only sound to be heard are Comrade growling and the entitled kid whimpering. He has a stare down and she looks away, scared. I know she was scared specifically not just from the way she was sweating, but how she tried to pull for the door past Sarge. She actually made it, but it was locked. One of the staff came out from the kitchen, trying to restrain her, but he just got punched in the face. She pounded on the door, never mind her son still trapped in a high chair, because apparently she saw police outside. Sarge saw them too, so he didn't worry about the entitled mother anymore. Instead, now that Emma was calm enough to command, he called her over to perch on his arm and got me napkins to clean me up, apologizing as he helped me. When the cops were inside the premise, the entitled mother did not waste any time before claiming, "Officers, I'm glad you're here." She then points to the couple innocently cleaning up a sticky mess. "Those Russians stole my service dog, assaulted me and my son, and had their honk attack us too. They locked me in." The officers were alarmed yet slightly confused. The accusations were alarming, but the call they received was totally different from the story that the entitled mother was telling them. The McDonald's employee who got punched in the face and has a bloody nose now says, "Allow me to present Exhibit A." He holds up his phone to the crowd so they can see the screen. It's a video. I couldn't help but laugh. The entitled mother went pale and tried to pull past the officers, again forgetting her son. But she didn't even make it to the doors. She was charged with attempted theft, animal cruelty, disruption of property, vandalism, assault, resisting arrest, lying to an officer, disrupting the peace, and even child endangerment. She went from a hot-headed psycho to a blubbering and apologetic single mother who needs sympathy. As they were detaining her and figuring out what to do with a child in terms of the other parent or CPS, they asked, "Who's the manager?" Coolly smirking and still mostly covered in ice cream, I raise my hand, and in an all-American accent reply, "This witch." The look on the entitled mother's face, just priceless. I had to hold back more laughter as we took care of some paperwork, answered questions, and pressed charges. We took the rest of the day off and I could finally laugh until I almost threw up. Nothing in the moments before the arrest was even remotely humorous. It was living hell. But I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to say the ending made up for it. We ended up getting $5,000 in charges, not including the cost to fix the window, which she or insurance also paid for. And Comrade got all the belly rubs he could ever ask for. Though I don't really let other strangers touch him anymore. Probably because of this. Thank you, Sarge, my wonderful sweet Russian partner. Also, I don't know what happened to the kid or the mom, but I know the mother at least got some jail time. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.